Center AM on a Thursday. Gary Strysky, Randy Scott alongside. Time is a flat circle. The year is 1995. Pacers and Knicks are in the playoffs at MSG, and the Knicks have a nice lead late in the fourth quarter.
Here's the thing, though. If Reggie Miller can score 8 points in 9 seconds, scoring 9 points in about a minute should be way easier, especially if you've been paying attention to how these comeback Pacers have been playing the entirety of these playoffs. We picked things up with about a minute to go in the fourth. The Knicks have a 7-point lead. They were up by as many as 17 in the fourth. Jalen Brunson gets it to go. 43 for JB, for Mr. Clutch. But there would be another Mr. Matter of fact, 2 of them for the Pacers. Aaron Nesmith hits the triple. The deficit is now 5. It's back up to 8 after another 3, but there's only 30 seconds to play. I mean, come on, they're not going to come back. Matter of fact, teams are 0 and 1,414 in the last 3 decades, went down 9 or more with under a minute to go in the playoffs. But what Aaron Nesmith just did, 6 threes made in the fourth quarter, is the most ever in a fourth quarter in a playoff game. Tyrese Halliburton for the win. Got it. At the buzzer. Again. Oh no. The Reggie Miller choke. He wasn't even alive back in the 90s when that happened. The 3 is good. It was off in time, except it wasn't a 3. That little piggy was on the line.
Oh, what?
So instead of a game-winning 3, half a shoe size too big, it's a game-tying 2. More on that in just a minute. By the way, Nesmith, who helped him get to that point, had 30 points, 20 of them in the fourth quarter. Here comes Tyrese. Every Indiana Pacers starter was in double-digit scoring. We're in overtime. The Knicks have a 1-point lead. Tyrese Halliburton, no. Former Knick, Obi Toppin, coming over the top. He only had 8 points. Yes. Okay. Ref calls it out of bounds on the Pacers, but upon further review, it actually went right off the tip of Jalen Brunson's fingers. He was 1 for 3 in clutch time, and he had 3 turnovers. Mr. Clutch with that line, and then Obi, again, 15 seconds to go, puts the Pacers up a 3 spot. The Knicks still have an opportunity here, and they're going to get it. Trying to steal this game 1. You know Jalen Brunson's going to be the one taking this shot with 12 seconds to go for the tie. No, but a couple offensive rebounds. Josh Hart kicks it to El Cato Grande. No, Mikal Bridges. He played the hero in so many of these games. Ball goes out of bounds, and that is how the Pacers get game 1. Tyrese Halliburton on that celebration triple, or not.
It felt right at the time. If it would have been, if I would have known it was a 2, I would not have done it oral farming. So I'm not. I don't plan on using it again.
The Pacers had just a 0.2% chance to win down the stretch in the fourth quarter per our analytics, but as seen throughout these playoffs, that's nothing for Indiana. They improved to 3-2 when trailing by 7 or more points in the final minute of the fourth quarter and overtime this postseason. And again, since 1998, all other teams won in 1,657 in those situations during the playoffs. And that is why JB Bickerstaff sent his game notes with about 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter saying, I got to go to bed. 4:30 a.m. comes quick. Knicks get game 1. And now in your second version of notes to our producers last night, after the Pacers came back, 3 things stood out to you from the fourth quarter and overtime. Coach, what were they?
Most importantly, it was the power of the 3-point shot. When you're in a situation like that and you're behind, the 3-point shot is your only way back in. And Nesmith, I thought, did a great job of creating those 3-point shots down the stretch. You know, they've been kind of a gift and a curse in these playoffs. We've seen some guys shoot themselves out of games, but last night, Nesmith did a great job in that down the stretch of putting them back in the game. And then you go down the stretch of it, looking at what Brunson and how Indiana made adjustments when they wasn't going to just be him in isolation situations. They put multiple bodies on him to try to frustrate him as much as they can. And then give Rick Carlisle credit. He made a couple shrewd moves down the stretch, going to the small lineup, putting Obi Toppin at the 5. And then you see the impact that Obi Toppin and Siakam had when they were playing at the 4-5, how they were able to attack, come up with offensive rebounds, big offensive rebounds down the stretch, and create space for guys to drive the basketball.
Don't want to be too overreactionary. There's plenty of shows on this network here who are going to be able to do just that later on. That being said, understanding that loss and the numbers against the Pacers, and they still came back to steal game 1 at the Garden, can the Knicks recover from this type of loss?
Yeah, I mean, they're a solid group. They're a veteran group of guys who believe that they can. They're a well-coached team, and they put themselves in position last night to win the basketball game. You know, they played about 44 minutes of really good basketball and were able to build that lead up to about 16, 17 points. So they were doing some things that were really, really in their favor. You know, they were dominant on the boards. They were forcing turnovers. You know, they were making shots, all those things. So you got to get over the emotion of it first because it can sting. But once you get over the emotion, you address the issues, and then you get to the X's and O's adjustments and you move forward.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround. Game 2, Eastern Conference Finals, Friday night from the Garden. Coach, much appreciated.
Appreciate you.
All right, what to watch for tonight on ESPN, brought to you by the Starbucks Coffee Company. MVP winner Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looking for his 9th 30-point game of the postseason, which would be tied for the second most in Thunder or Sonics single-season history. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards just 17 points shy of passing Kevin Garnett for the most points in Timberwolves postseason history. According to ESPN Bet Sportsbook, the Thunder are the current favorites to win tonight's matchup. They're at minus 290. For context, teams that go up 2-love in a best-of-7 series have gone on to win.
It would be needed at some point here, and I was like, man, I think I wasted it.
Well, you didn't waste it. Under 30 seconds to go in overtime. Knicks down 1. Initially raw, Pacers win in overtime. A miraculous comeback from down 14 with less than 3 to go. And there it is. The New York Post digging up Reggie's choke sign from 31 years ago. Very similar, eerily similar for Knicks fans as Tyrese Halliburton channels Reggie Miller in the win. And we're used to seeing this from the Pacers this year. The comeback started in the first round, trailing by 7, final minute of OT against the Bucks. They went from down those 7 to a first-round series win with a blitz of points late. Conference semis against the top-seeded Cavs. Down 7, Halliburton says, no, sir. Step back 3 to steal game 2. Indiana ended up winning in 5. And NBA senior writer Tim Bontemps was there in the building tonight, charged with the daunting task of bundling that game up in a nice, tidy package. Tim, Pacers are like a weed, very hard to kill. How do they keep winning games like this?
I mean, that's the real thing looking back at this game, David. There was about 2 minutes ago, the Pacers were down 8, and I turned to a couple people next to me and said, are they going to do this again? And that's because this is now the 3rd time this team has had a comeback from 7, 8, or 9 points inside the final minute of a playoff game in the last month. It had hardly ever happened in NBA history before. Coming into tonight's game over the last 27 years, there had been 0 wins in the last 1,414 of these games, and the Pacers won it. And how do they do it? Because they relentlessly wear down their opponents. They're playing at a frenetic pace all the time. At the end of these games, Tyrese Halliburton said they're almost like a college team because of how they stay together as a group. The amount of time they've played together, he credited the front office for keeping this group together. So they have belief that they can come back in these situations, and they just continue to relentlessly wear down their opponents. And you saw it in this game, just like against the Cavs in the second round, just like against the Bucks in the first round. The Knicks were forced into making a lot of mental mistakes, missed free throws, costly turnovers, etc. But the Pacers still had to take advantage. Aaron Nesmith hit a bunch of big shots. Tyrese Halliburton obviously had the crazy step back. And now we're sitting here, the Pacers having yet again made history and given themselves home court advantage in this series.
Yeah, all credit to the Pacers' unbelievable comeback. But the Knicks had them, and they let them off the hook. So where does that team go from here?
Well, David, the Knicks just did this to the Boston Celtics in the last round, right? In both games 1 and 2 of that series on the road, the Knicks were down by 20 points and came back and won. And that proved to be the difference in them advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. So the quest now for the Knicks is to come back Friday in game 2 and not allow that to happen to them. And look, if you're the Knicks, if you look at the first 45 minutes of this game, there are a lot of positives you could take away from it. Jalen Brunson got whatever he wanted, just like he did in this series last year. Karl Towns had a phenomenal game, thoroughly outplayed Miles Turner. Mitchell Robinson came off the bench, had a massive impact. One of the keys in this series coming in was whether Indiana could keep him off the boards. They had no chance of doing so in this game. So if you are the Knicks, you look at the tape of this game through those first 45 minutes, there's a lot to look at and say, we can come back on Friday, get game 2, and even this series up at a game apiece. But these are the kind of games, David, as we just saw in that last round, they're the ones that can really haunt a team going forward. If the Knicks don't win this series, you know that all summer long they're going to be thinking about those final minute of this game and how they let this one slip away.
They'll get a chance to get back even with the Pacers in a couple nights. Tim Bontemps giving us the.
What's your favorite team? Comment below, and if you like the video, please leave a like. This really helps the channel grow and brings you even more content. Oh, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive all notifications. With each game, we noticed that the NBA is getting more competitive every day, and all the teams are looking for reinforcements to win the championship. And only here can you follow your favorite team daily with incredible content from different sources. Here on the channel, there are new videos every day with analysis, curiosities, and the best moments in basketball. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for following along. The NBA doesn't stop, and neither do we. Until the next video. NBA, the passion that connects us.